Game 5 was not close. This is a big, much-needed win in Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, as the Panthers come up to Toronto and dominated on mostly everything. They almost pulled out something that Bobrovsky has never done in his career, and that's back-to-back shutouts. He just missed it by a minute in the third period. Just a minute. Just a minute that he needed. And it's ruined by Nicholas Robertson, who had his first goal of the playoffs. We'll talk about that when the time goes on. So it's Sergei Bobrovsky going up against the starting goaltender. I say starting goaltender because there's a reason why I said that. Starting goaltender is Joseph Woll for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I'm just gonna make this a plain and simple video. Might be a shorter one because this was a blowout. This was a masterclass game by the Florida Panthers and their defense against a really good Toronto team, a really good home team, by the way, who has only lost once in this playoffs. Their only loss was against Ottawa in Game 5 of the last series, in which there was some fear of blowing a historic lead. But they're able to pull through that outcome to the second round. It is crazy. Once down 2-0 to now leading 3-2 at the end. So anyway, in this game, shot attempts and shot on goal were in favor of Florida. Except Joseph Woll continues to be the goaltender that's trying to carry the Leaf team on his back. Okay? Some people are blaming this on Woll, which you shouldn't blame this on Woll. He did everything he possibly can. The offense was dead in the Leafs team. But let me say this with Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky was kick-ass. He was stopping William Nylander's breakaway shots. I mean, Nylander got loose a couple of times in this game, and Bobrovsky was stopping all of them. He really did. I was complaining about it for a while that this team cannot stop breakaways. They're stopping breakaways. Nylander's breakaways, and he's the top scorer right now in the playoff team for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So all that alone right now is something that is huge for the Florida Panthers. Massive. Okay? Massive. But 14-38 in the first period, there was a giveaway from Austin Matthews, and that led to a goal from the Florida Panthers as he is assisted by Jesper Boquist, who is playing in filling of Eder Rodriguez, Rodriguez, please get better soon. You never like to see injuries. I just don't. But Boquist gets his first assist of the playoffs, and Reinhart's sixth assist of the playoffs. And off the wrist shots, I mean, that puck was so good and shot well by Aaron Ekblad. That's the second goal of the playoffs. 1-0 Florida. That is a big goal. Big goal to start off. Because you're on the road and you're trying to set an example to the locker room that, hey, it's possible. It is possible. So Lundell gets a trip against Mitch Marner in which he was trying to go for the puck, but the stick got the legs and he was brought down. So Toronto power play, during this power play, Matthew Knies with a tip-in, which was stopped by Bobrovsky. That was a great save. Knies again with the wrist shot, which was stopped by Bobrovsky. Mitch Marner, I thought, had a good look, but he missed it to the right. Knies was able to try to get that more so of the snap or a slap shot, but a wrist shot was more the thing because the stick was on the ice a little longer, and then you shoot it. But first period ends in favor of Florida, 1-0. And this power play would carry over to the second period. William Nylander with the wrist shot, which was stopped by Bobrovsky, and around that time, power play is killed off. So Florida kills off that penalty. Lawton Lawton actually nearly makes it 1-1, but he hit the post. Yeah, and the post became a factor. They hit the crossbar and then hit the post early on in the second period. That was wild. Aaron Ekblad with the wrist shot that was stopped by Woll. Matthew Tkachuk and then he's battling a little bit of that groin problem, but he was still kicking ass. Wrist shot that was stopped by Wall. Puck was frozen up the gash of his backhands, which that was nuts. But however, 6 minutes into the second period, this is one of the first of many. Actually, second, my bad. Aaron Ekblad, and now Dmitry Kulikov. This became a defenseman goal affair. He is assisted by Matthew Tkachuk, that's his 6th assist of the playoffs, and Nate Schmidt's 3rd assist of the playoffs. And off the slap shot, it's Kulikov, and that puck ricocheted off the Leaf player. If I remember, that was Scott Lawton's stick that deflects off of his stick towards the back of the net. Lawton had an unlucky bounce, and that went to the back of the net. Credited to Dmitry Kulikov, and Dmitry Kulikov, what a shot. And what a good eye coordination of where to shoot that puck. And that puck ends up bouncing off Scott Lawton into the back of the net. 2-0 Florida. Second defenseman in the game to score a goal. Because Aaron Ekblad was the first in the first period. I mean, look at that. Look at that, man. Austin Matthews with the wrist shot off the rebounds. Twice in a row, Bobrovsky was able to stop on both of them. Absolutely amazing. And then a giveaway from Mitch Marner to Florida Panthers. Gustav Forsling had the puck. He then gives it to Reinhart, and Jesper Boquist completely skates by the two players from the Leafs side, one side and the other. Reinhart sees him wide open, and Jesper snaps it home. He's assisted by Forsling. That's his 2nd assist. And Sam Reinhart's 7th assist in the playoffs and 2nd in the game. Jesper Boquist gets his first career playoff goal. Congratulations to Jesper Boquist. What a night he's having. 3-0 Florida. I mean, he has such a great regular season. His postseason is about to be even better. Awesome. So, 3-0 Florida immediately. And then Max Domi with this slash against Matthew Tkachuk. So Florida goes on the power play. During this power play, Sam Reinhart with the wrist shot that was stopped by Wall. There was a shorthanded chance for Steven Lorentz, which was a wrist shot, which was stopped by Bobrovsky. As far as I remember, I think that was more of a clearing attempt that went towards Bobrovsky. But this power play is killed off. Only one shot on target for the Panthers. John Tavares tries to tip it in, but that was stopped by Bobrovsky. That did not work there. Aaron Ekblad with the wrist shot that was stopped by Wall. And 14:01 into the second period, another defenseman goal. He is assisted by Lo Serenian. That's his 7th assist of the playoffs. Lundell's 6th assist of the playoffs. And off the slap shots, Niko Mikkola, 3rd defenseman of the night out of 4. The only exception is Jesper Boquist. He gets his first goal of the playoffs. And it's a slap shot to make it 4-0 Florida. Amazing defenseman affair. It is. It really is. So things are getting out of hand. Pushing and shoving. Bobby McMahon with the wrist shot that was stopped by Bobrovsky. Bobby McMahon again with the tip-in that was stopped by Bobrovsky. We then go to the end of the second period. A little bit of a scuffle, but nothing crazy. Third period. Then all the scuffles, wars, blood, rivalry, it starts to feel in full effect in the third period. Third period starts with a face-off win by Lundell. William Nylander, who was trying to shoot that puck, and as well as Matthew Nice. Matthew Nice was trying to shoot that puck, and as he was shooting the puck, he was being held by Niko Mikkola, which would then be a penalty after a William Nylander backhand, which was stopped by Bobrovsky, needless to say. So Toronto goes on a power play. During this power play, Austin Matthews with the snapshot that was stopped by Bobrovsky. Domi with the slap shot that was stopped by Bobrovsky. And then Domi, a few seconds later, held Kulikov. And he fell down off the ice. So Domi gets a holding call, which would again nullify the power play into a 4-on-4 for a few seconds. And then Florida would be on the power play. And during that power play, no shot on goal. That one shot attempt, that could have went in, but it didn't. Matthew Tkachuk with the wrist shot, which hit that crossbar. My God. So the penalties killed off a bunch of hits later. Icing, a little bit. And then once again, another goal by the Florida Panthers. And this is where Joseph Wolf's and night starts to come to a close. He is assisted by Nate Schmidt. That's his 4th assist of the playoffs. And Jonah Gadjevich with his 1st assist of the playoffs. And off the wrist shot, A.J. Greer, his 1st goal of the playoffs to make it 5-0 Florida. And that ends the night for Joseph Woll. All right, that ends the night for Joseph Woll. Now coming in for Joseph Woll, Matt Murray. Matt Murray making his playoff debut tonight. Season playoff debut, at least. He is the backup, the 3rd string goaltender because Anthony Stolarz is still out. So Matt Murray is the only choice for Toronto to put in. My guess is they're gonna rest Woll for the rest of this game to bring him back out for the 6th game. Or if they go nuclear, they might put Matt Murray in game 6. But I don't know if that's likely or not. Those are the questions. I think those are the questions for Toronto. Do you put Murray in for the next game? Or do you continue to trust Joseph Woll? I'm not saying to help Leafs. All I'm saying is the Panthers need to be prepared in case that there'll be a goaltending switch for the next game. But back to this game, after a A.J. Greer goal, John Tavares with the roughing call against Aaron Ekblad. That kind of sets the table for a bit. So the Panthers go on the power play once again. During this power play, Reinhart with the tip-in, which was stopped by Murray. Sam Reinhart once again with the wrist shot that was stopped by Murray. He stops the puck. Off the face-off circle, David Kemp wins the face-off, but Marchand was able to strip that puck away towards Aaron Ekblad and Sam Bennett, who was originally credited a unassisted goal, but that turned out not to be true. There was definitely more of a assist by those two players, and Sam Bennett makes it 6-0, and that was way too fast. I mean, I glimpsed off for a second there, and only to realize, oh, he scored. I mean, that was a great shot. He's assisted by Brad Marchand. That's his 7th assist of the playoffs. And Aaron Ekblad's 4th assist of the playoffs. And off the power play goal wrist shot, it's Sam Bennett with his 6th goal of the playoffs to make it a whopping touchdown, 6-0 Florida. And I know people will say, touchdown? Well, yeah, because if you score a touchdown, it's actually 6 points. People say 7 points is a touchdown score. Well, typically, sure, except the 7th point, it's from the PAT. See what I'm saying? So touchdown is 6 points. Anyway, I'm getting off topic with football. I know Toronto has a football team. They're called the Toronto Argonauts. They actually won a championship this past season. So, anyway, back to hockey. Bobby McMahon with the wrist shot that was stopped by Bobrovsky. Seth Jones tries to do a one-timer, which was stopped by Murray, and then hellfire. A fight broke loose from everybody, and Brad Marchand was going to the bench and coming back off the bench to join the scuffle. Everybody was beating the shit out of each other. I mean, Marchand, Lowell Serenen, Pacioretty, Nosak, Jake McCabe, John Tavares, were all involved. Even Seth Jones was involved with this. Everything. William Nylander was involved. Pacioretty, I said. John Tavares. It was a long delay. That's why last video the Marlins won. Marlins game ended first. Because of this. Now the whole thing was out of control, right? So Brad Marchand gets a misconduct. He goes down the tunnel. A Toronto fan had some choice of words to say about him. Probably greeted him saying hello. Or you're going to beat us again or something like that. I mean, Brad Marchand smiled and then goes to the tunnel. But, I mean, that is pretty interesting. But all this, everyone got a roughing call. However, Panthers players got more of the penalties. So Toronto ends up with the power play. And there was a shorthanded chance from Aaron Ekblad to Matt Murray, which was stopped. And Oliver Ekman-Larsson with the wrist shot that was stopped by Bobrovsky. And Scott Laughton and Nico Mikkola went at it against each other, beating the crap out of each other. So both players ends up going to the box. So the penalty box being full. This is sort of a situation with Ottawa last season. Remember that? Remember that craziness where everybody on the ice got a 10-minute misconduct? Almost similar, except they're not getting misconduct calls. Instead, Laughton and Mikkola both are called for a roughing. So the Toronto power play ends up staying exactly the same, in which that was killed off. So nothing much to talk about. Carlo with the wrist shot that was stopped by Bobrovsky. So at this point, not really worried. Panthers are going to win this one. Toronto is looking to get that score in because it was roughly about 1 minute and 40 seconds. Not 1 minute 40, excuse me. 140 minutes around that time to score a goal. The last goal happened in the third period of Game 3. I was in Minnesota when this happened. So the fact that it happened that long, it's how good the defense is for the Florida Panthers and how untouchable, unpassable that Bobrovsky has become. And hopefully this continues Friday. So we're looking at a shutout until there wasn't a shutout. He is assisted by Steven Lorenz. That's his second assist of the playoffs. And Max Domi's third assist of the playoffs. And out the backhand is Nicholas Robertson with his first goal of the playoffs. And hellfire once broke loose again. Nicholas Robertson goes on the ice. And I think he did the right thing. Cover his head like this for a good while. I think he did the right thing because you don't want to get stepped on. You don't want somebody to, God forbid, fall on your head or something like that. You don't want that. So I think he did the right thing and cover his head. But a fight broke loose, so more roughing calls and more misconducts. Max Domi with the roughing call. He gets a double minor for roughing, which will be served by Nicholas Robertson, the goal scorer. And Max Domi got ejected from the game as a misconduct. And so did Aaron Ekblad. Ekblad was also roughing Max Domi. It was a big playoff fight. So it's frustration from the Leafs. Everyone's pissed off, angry. And that's why the Panthers played angry. Because same situation, sort of the same situation happened in Game 4. Where they did that to Barkov or something like that. This is just a frustration hit from Toronto because of how badly they're getting beaten right now. In a playoff game, getting embarrassed by that, especially in front of the home crowd, they're angry. So they took some shots on the Panthers players. Misconducts, Aaron Ekblad and Max Domi. Florida, I believe, winds up with a power play. So they wind up with a power play, and more penalties happened. But by the time more penalties happened, the game had already ended. As more fights broke loose with AJ Greer and Steven Lorenz, and everybody was beating the shit out of each other. This was a frustration loss for the Leafs. Not that I'm rooting for them, because I am not. But the Panthers, big statement win over the Toronto fans and Toronto hockey team. Everyone was happy. Everyone was very happy. You get to throw jerseys on the ice. Booze, whatever you want to call it. Sorry if you hear the hockey noise. But anyway, look at the team stats. Both teams with 32 shots on target, except for the Panthers. They scored 6 goals. 54 hits for the Panthers, 49 hits for the Leafs, 31 face-off. 31 face-off wins for the Panthers, so much better face-off circle. 28 face-off wins for the Leafs. 4 power play opportunities for the Panthers. They got one. They only got the one from Sam Bennett. That was in the third period. 3 power play opportunities for the Leafs. They got nothing out of this one. Penalties, 12 penalties as a whole for the Panthers. That's 40 penalty minutes. Wild. 11 penalties for the Leafs. 30 penalty minutes for the Leafs. 9 block shots for the Panthers. 24 block shots for the Leafs. 5 takeaways for the Panthers. 4 takeaways for the Leafs. And the big problem for the Leafs, they gave the puck away 21 times, and some of them led to the goal, especially from the defensemen. And 10 giveaways for the Panthers. Now, this app did not update whatever their stars of the game. So let me double check real quick, because there should be stars of the game coming up right now. Let's go. Sorry about that. Yes. 1 star goes to Sergei Bobrovsky. 2 stars goes to Jesper Boquist. And Sam Reinhart with 3 stars. Perfect. Down 0-2 to now lead 3-2. What a comeback. What a comeback by the Panthers. Now, on Friday, one more. They should try to finish off the Leafs Friday. We have a chance to finish them off Friday to go back to the Eastern Conference Finals for the 3rd straight season. We're capable of doing it. We need to continue this pressure, and we have to win in 6. Because Toronto, they're going to play angry. They're going to make some adjustments offensively. The goaltending, I have no idea what's going to happen with the goaltending. They might keep Woll. Matt Murray might be the starting goaltender on Friday. Who knows? But the Panthers should brace ourselves, because they're going to play desperate hockey, and they're going to want to force Game 7. They have to force Game 7. They have no choice. So the Panthers, keep bringing up the pressure. Continue what you did tonight, defensively and offensively, and you might be able to pull it off. Back to the Eastern Conference Finals, and back road to Stanley Cup Final is in our hands. So that's going to do it for this one. Let's go Panthers. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe for content, because Miami TV guys are back. And when he does, he'll be right there with the free entertainment you deserve. I'm going to watch soccer, everybody, so I'll see you guys tonight. This is Miami TVG Sound, folks. Good night.